everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. So today I'm back with another tutorial. On today's video I'm going to be showing you how to draft women's trouser pattern. So this pattern is very easy to make, and the measurements we'll be needing for this tutorial: the hip circumference, the waist circumference, the thigh circumference, the knee circumference, and the ankle circumference. You are also going to be needing the full length of the trouser. So for the crouch measurement, to take the crouch measurement, you should sit on a hard surface and then measure from your waist to the exact spot where your butt touches the chair. So for most people, some people, it can be 8 inches from the waistline. For others it can be 9 inches, but for mine it is 8 inches, so I'm going to be using 8 inches. The first thing you want to do is to draw your waistline and the out seam line, and then get the full measurement. The length of my trouser is 37 inches, so I've marked 37 inches from the waist to here. So this is my 37 inches. So now I'm going to start inserting my vertical measurements. So the first measurement I'm going to be marking is the crouch length. My crouch length is 8 inches from the waistline, so I'm going to mark 8 inches. And also mark 8 inches here. And then use a ruler to square out the measurement. So this is our crouch line, and this is our waistline, and this is our crouch line. So the tie line, to get the tie line, you measure 2 inches from the crotch line. The tie line is usually 2 inches below the crouch line, so I'm going to mark 2 inches. And then also square this out. So this is my thigh line. This crouch line is where you insert your hip measurement, and here you insert your thigh measurement divided by 2. For the hip measurement I'm working with is 35 inches. 35 divided by 4 is 8.75. So I'm going to mark 8.75 on this line. 8.75. So you measure this 8.75 down. And then you're going to square this. The next thing I want to do is to insert my thigh measurement. The thigh I'm working with is 22 inches. 22 divided by 2 is 11. So I'm going to mark 11 inches. On the thigh line, and then I'm going to use a curve. next thing is the waistline. The waist I'm working with is 27 inches. Divided by 4 is 6.75 plus 1 inches for that. So I'm going to have 7.75. So from this line, I'm going to mark 7.75. So I'm going to connect this to the crotch line. Next thing is for us to work on the lower part. First, you have to measure from the crotch line to the ankle line. So what I have here is 29 inches. 29 inches. So I'm going to find the midpoint of this 29 inches. I'm going to find the middle. Which is 14.5. From this 14.5, I'm going to go up by 1 inch. So to get, you don't insert the new measurement on the actual nail. You have to come up by 1 inch or 2 inches depending on how tall you are. But me, I'm coming up from the new actual nail line by 1 inch. So that's 13.5. I'm going to So this becomes the new line where we'll be inserting the new measurement. Becomes our grain line. So to get the new measurements from this point, the new circumference I'm working with is 14 inches. 14 divided by 2 is 7 inches. So you are going to find the middle of that 7, which means I'm marking 3.5, 3.5 on each side. 3.5. So the ankle measurements I'm working with is 10 inches. Divided by 2 is 5. So I'm going to mark 5 on each side. I'm going to mark 5 inches. That's 2.5 on each side. So now we are going to connect the two lines. So from this tie line, we are going to connect to the new line, and then from here to this place. So do that. I'm going to connect this to this. So this is the front pattern so far. The next thing we want to do is to take this line up. And then insert our dart. Remember, we added 1 inch for the dart allowance, so we are going to mark half an inch on each side. And then the length of the front dart is usually 4 inches. So we are going to the block. So now you can decide to add seam allowance, but I'm going to leave this as a block. Remember that now that we cut the front pattern, we didn't add any seam allowance, so we use the exact measurement. All the allowances will be at the back pattern. So now that the front pattern is ready, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out and then use it to cut the back pattern. I'm going to use it to cut the back. So when you are placing the front pattern on the back, ensure you leave enough allowance here, because we didn't add allowance on the front. We are going to add all our allowances to the back. And note that the front pattern is usually lower than the back pattern. So for the back pattern, we are going to be adding 1.5 inches from this top part. You add 1.5 inches up here, and then so from this 1.1 inch up here, you slant it to meet, you find a curve like this, just like this. So on the tie line, you add extra 3 inches or 2.5 inches, but I'm using 3 inches. So this is our back. So the next thing you want to do is to add 2 inches allowance in. And then you are going to connect it. Here you mark 1.5. And then you find a curve. You can use your free hand